Hello, welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. Today's episode is actually a workshop. We're going to do a current projects workshop so that you can plan your month. And we have a free worksheet for you on our show notes page so you can follow along the process and do it with me. Now, if you're listening right when this podcast comes out in December of 2024, we have something called Step Momentum starting January 8th, where you can go through a whole process to create an organized Command Central system with Team Learn to Become and with a community here inside of our Steps to Everyday Productivity program. So details are at learndobecome.com/momentum. You can find out more there. We'll also have a link on the show notes page, but I just want to announce it and let you know how exciting it's going to be. We'll jump now into the current projects workshop, and then at the end, I'm going to share a few highlights from our community members who have had amazing successes, and I'll talk a little bit more about Step Momentum. Okay, let's dive in. If you're new to Learn, Do, Become, we help people who are overwhelmed by the details of life to create simple systems so they can do what matters most. And having a current projects list is a very important part of this simple system. It's part of what we call our Command Central, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about what it is and how it works and why you need it, and then we'll dive in. But again, if you want to get that worksheet, you come to our show notes page. It's at learndobecome.com/episode 269. So we have a video version of this podcast, a written synopsis, related links, the worksheet download. Everything is on the show notes page. Let's dive in. If we don't specifically identify a few projects that deserve our focus for the month, we're probably going to work on 50 to 100 projects at the same time, and typically we won't get any of them done. You can probably relate to this, where you have several multi-step tasks, that's what we call projects, and you jump from project to project to project, and then maybe you procrastinate to get them done at the end in a flurry, but typically projects just don't happen, and then you feel stressed and overwhelmed. But if we have a very simple list, maybe between 1 and 8 projects for the month, then we can break those down into little microbursts. We get those projects done, and then we can bring in the next projects when we have bandwidth. So by the end of today's workshop, you're going to have a solid, doable, exciting plan for the month, and you're going to feel a big lift. I love using that description because that's how I feel every time I create a solid, optimal current projects list. I feel a lift. I'm excited about moving forward in my life, and I know, okay, I can get stuff done. So if you want to go through each step, just audio listening while you're moving along with something else, totally fine. You don't have to have the worksheet, but maybe once you listen to this podcast, you might want to get the worksheet and go back and actually do this. So remember, come to learndobecome.com/episode 269. Download either a digital version, so you can just type into it on your computer and save it, or you can print if you like printing and using, paper and pen. So when I create my current projects list, I really love to divide it into these 3 categories of me, my family, and beyond. And beyond means paid or volunteer work, because we want to have a balanced life. And I found that it's hard for me to have a balanced life if I don't have a balanced current projects list. If I have 8 work projects I'm trying to do in a month, then how much time and energy am I putting into my personal care or my family? Probably not a whole lot, unless I have really good, solid routines in place for all of that. So you can make it work for you, but you don't want to feel out of balance, and you want to actually give focus and brain space and intention to all areas of your life. I want to have myself taken care of and my family taken care of and my work taken care of, and just be able to go to sleep feeling calm. So on page 1 of the worksheet, we're going to brainstorm our me projects and our family projects. And then on page 2 of the worksheet, we're going to brainstorm the beyond projects, and then we'll do a final project selection. And honestly, you could just do this each month. Just kind of go through the process, and it's going to feel very exciting, empowering. It's going to bring relief. You're going to say, why didn't anyone ever teach me this before? And you're going to be so excited to tell all your friends, and they can come be part of Learn to Become too. I put together some very specific prompts on the worksheet so that you can consider exactly what you and your family and other people need that month before you identify your projects. This is going to take a little bit of effort, but as you get into the habit of doing this every month, you're going to find that you aren't just knocking out projects, you are completing projects that actually lead you toward the life that you can't wait to wake up and live. And that's what I want for you. Let's start with the brainstorm of the me projects. Here are the prompts. What do I personally need right now to feel healthier, happier, and closer to my overall goals? Do I need more rest, support with health challenges, better habits, time for reading, time in nature, more closeness with my higher power, activities with friends, emotional support? So when I did the worksheet, I wrote the following. Sustained health habits. I've already got some good habits in place, but I want to keep them going, and sometimes having them on my current projects list helps me focus. More time reading, more time outside, and more two-way journaling. Two-way journaling, I have a podcast on that, but I love it. It's where I write out what I'm feeling to God, like a little letter to God, and then I listen, and God writes back and tells me what I need to know. And it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite things. So those are the 4 that I wrote down on my brainstorm. If you want to pause right now and create your brainstorm, I do encourage you to think about your life. Where are you feeling out of balance personally? Are you needing to go see a doctor? Do you want to get up earlier? Do you find that you're giving all your time to everyone else? Are you feeling cranky? Do you need to maybe talk with a therapist? Do you need time to be able to just sit and eat and not grab something while you're on the go? And what do you need so that you will feel calm and happy, right? Healthy, closer to your goals. Now let's jump into the brainstorm of family projects. I'm assuming you can pause or do whatever you want here, but we're going to keep moving. Here's the prompt for family. How can I strengthen my family and relationships this month? Some ideas are things like plan for an upcoming holiday, an event, or a trip, support my family with specific health, social, spiritual, financial, educational needs, etc., spend quality time together, create systems or improvements in our home to make things run more smoothly. And the ones that I recorded were be present for the holiday. It's December right now, and I was putting this together in November, so I was planning for the December holiday season. Next was look for service opportunities, trip after the holiday, support my son with a new job that he's looking to get, and create a follow-up doctor appointment. So those were things that would cover all of our family needs. Remember, these are projects. These are not just ongoing routines. So there's lots of stuff that I do for myself, my family, and our business that are on autopilot. They're routines. But these are projects, like specific things that we can get done that will move us forward. Now I'll go into brainstorming the beyond projects. The prompt is, what can I do to grow and serve in my profession and in the broader world? Maybe it's complete my highest priority professional projects, invest in education to support my financial and impact goals, pursue a volunteer project to lighten others' loads. And of course, you can adapt these prompts to your own needs. That's just what I put down as a little starter. So I included for mine, I'm making a new video slide deck for a project we're doing. I'm taking a YouTube class. I wanted to host an event for some international students that live near us and be available and just notice needs, because I don't want to be thinking about myself all the time. I'm really trying to think outside myself and my family and seeing how we can be helpful to the broader world. So, okay, if I look at the 3 brainstorms that I just created, I have 13 things that could be projects. But that's too many because remember, I don't want to have more than 7 or 8 total. And sometimes for me, it's healthier to have like 5 if there's a lot of other stuff going on. Sometimes I do just have 1 project if I'm just maxed out. I don't want to do projects. My project might even be rest, take care of myself, and that's fine too. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk through those brainstorms and show how I'm identifying any routines that could be pulled out or any calendared items or maybe things that could wait for another month. I just really want to highlight what makes the most sense to be a project. So just defining the projects can actually be completed. When I put something down in project format, it wouldn't be like read more necessarily. I'm going to write it in a way that can actually be completed and that feels a little bit more tangible. I mean, I could just write read more if I wanted, but I'm going to share how I do it. So I'm going to share what I initially wrote for my project brainstorm and then what I ended up with for my final list. And I'll do that for each of the 3 categories. Looking again at my For Me projects, I had written sustained health habits, more time reading, more time outside, more two-way journaling. But then I ended up with this on my final list. Spend at least 2 evenings a week reading instead of watching TV. So that's a routine to establish. And then the next one is two-way journal 3 times a week. Again, that's a routine to establish. So although sustained health habits is something I could have written down, I was thinking, well, they're pretty much on autopilot. I've figured out which foods work for me. I am exercising each day. I'm actually feeling pretty good about that. So I thought, I could probably move that into routine mode and see how I do. And then if I need to bring it back to a current project, I can. But I think I've done that one. I think I've had it on my current projects list the entire year. So it's okay if I don't have that as a current project this month. And then the more time outside, I didn't include that on my final list because I thought, well, we have enough scheduled this month where I will be outside. And I think I can just make sure I get out and walk or hike each morning. And I think I'll be fine not having that be a project. So that way, it's not like I'm not going to sustain my health habits or I'm not going to get outside. It's just I think that those can kind of run in the background and I don't need to put as much focus on them. So my 2 final projects were the 2 evenings a week reading and then the two-way journal 3 times a week. Now let's go to the For My Family projects. I had written be present for the holiday, look for service opportunities, the trip after the holiday, support son with his new job, and a follow-up doctor appointment. It kind of feels like a lot, but then I ended up on my final list of trip after the holiday and support son with new job. So what I left out was be present for the holiday. That is something that I want to do, but I think that I'm being deliberate enough and I've opened my schedule enough that I will be. So I don't need to actually have it as a project. I think that could be on my daily reminders note that I read each morning, just like things to think about. But I don't need to actually write that down as a project. Also, the service opportunities, I actually already have 2 or 3 in place. And I found that more opportunities are just popping up because, for example, at church, they said, oh, we're doing a sub for Santa. Awesome. So that's something that we were able to contribute to. We got some gift cards. Then I had a friend email me and say, oh, I'm also supporting a family with my work. Great. So I was able to help out with that. And then I just had some people come into my path who needed some things and I was able to jump in because I had bandwidth. So I feel like that's coming naturally enough that I don't need to look for it as a project. And then the follow-up doctor appointment, I realized, I could just put that on my calendar. I don't actually need to make that a project. That's more of a one-step calendar. And then if at the doctor appointment, I'm given additional information or things to do, that may become a project, but right now it's just an appointment. Now, just giving some context, I did put trip after the holiday because we were thinking, we could go somewhere with our kids because they have school out and we could do a little trip. And then the more Eric and I thought about it, the more we realized we don't want to plan a trip. We thought it sounded so fun. And then it just felt like too much to plan. And anyway, with all the other things that we have going on, we said, we're not going to do it. So that has now been erased and we're focusing more on having a good sustainable schedule here at home with Spencer and me and Eric so that we can all do the stuff we need to do and not step on each other's toes all the time. So that's what we have now. So again, my final 2 projects for family are, in this case, I had trip after the holiday and supporting my son to help us get his new job. But then now it's been edited, and I'll get more to that in a minute because it's okay to edit. And this is a dynamic list that can change according to how things are going. We don't change everything. Like, I want to help you actually get projects done, but it's a living, breathing list. We're going to move on to the Beyond projects. I'd written the new video slide deck, YouTube class, host an event, and be available / notice needs. I ended up just putting the video slides, the YouTube class, and hosting the event on my current projects list. The be available and notice needs, it kind of goes along with the service opportunities I was talking about, where I'm already doing that. So I decided not to make that a project. What's nice is that I ended up with 7 projects for the month. And that's totally doable for me considering everything else on my plate. And I just start feeling excited about it because I know that those 7 projects aren't going to tip me over the edge. They're not going to be sitting there at the end of the month, not having been touched. I will have moved forward on all of them, or I will edit if needed. Hopefully you just did this worksheet or you're planning to do it, but I hope that the process of following those prompts, identifying what you, your family, and your professional or volunteer work requires and what you want to prioritize feels really exciting to you. As you do this, you may find that you have so many things in your brainstorms that you feel totally overwhelmed and you feel like you can't choose which ones are the most important. That's the hardest thing at the beginning. If you haven't yet built your full command central, you haven't done your mind sweep, you haven't processed, and you haven't learned how to, get all of it working, then when you do some kind of a worksheet or an exercise like this, you may just find that your brain just explodes all over and you think, I want to do 5,000 things for me and my family and my business and my neighborhood and all that. But what I encourage you to do is use a tiered list. I have a diagram here on the show notes page you can see, but I think of it like a pyramid with my current projects at the top, just a small amount. Then we have next in line projects and then someday projects. So your brainstorm isn't for naught. You can put some things on next in line and some someday, but what you want to do is decide what really is important to me this month. That is a skill to learn how to distinguish between, great idea versus the best idea. So I strongly recommend you create a tiered list. It not only helps you focus on what matters most, but it helps your brain calm down because all the projects are safe. Doesn't mean the ones next in line aren't important. It just means you're not going to try to do everything at the same time because you've tried that before and you don't get those things done, right? This ability to distinguish what matters is what I want all of us to be really, really good at. And I get it. It's hard. I sat down today and did more brainstorming and vision work and, preparing for 2025 and thinking about how I want to live my life and what I want to do and how I want to change some things that have been bothering me this year. And yeah, sometimes it's a little frustrating because I don't want to pick one thing. I just want it all done. But LearnDoBecome, it's named that way on purpose because it's a process. Okay. Now, one thing I just want to emphasize again is that the way you know your project list is optimal is if when you look at it, you get a little lift, like your stomach lifts and you almost get butterflies in your stomach because you think, yes, I can't wait. I can do this. And if when you look at your projects list, you think, oh, this is terrible. I don't even want to approach this month. Then I think there's too much on it. Okay. And we have other podcasts talking about going into depth on the lists and things like that. I also recommend that you post your current projects list or keep it handy so you can refer to it often. Some people like to make it the wallpaper on their phone. Some people like to have a chalkboard. I like to have a chalkboard or a whiteboard, and it's just posted right in their office space. Some people want it on a sticky note on their bathroom mirror. I also write it inside of my planner, so I just have it there on my little bookmark. My current projects are really important to me just because it helps me stay on task. Because if I didn't have my current projects list, I would be bouncing all over the place. I get excited about a lot of things. But this current projects list is like my anchor, and it helps me get everything done that I need to get done. and I feel very deliberate with my work. And if you're thinking now, okay, April, I've got my current projects list. Now, how are these projects magically going to get done? If you go to this show notes page, LearnDoBecome.com/episode 269, we do have a link to our directory. It's our content directory, so you can see all the different podcasts and videos and resources that we have for you to help you identify next actions. We have our free training, How to Finally Stop Drowning in Piles, that walks you through the process of identifying a next action. So there's lots of resources there, but I do want to give you just a couple of ideas to help you feel excited now so you can take what you've brainstormed on this worksheet and then move onward and feel great. So first, I do want you to look at your projects and say, what is the very next action for each one? How am I going to make this happen? Let's take my two-way journaling. I really like my two-way journaling, and I like to do it on a computer because my hand hurts when I try to write really fast. I also want to be able to do it in the mornings typically, but I often keep my computer upstairs, and then in the mornings, if I need my computer, I'm like, oh, I don't want to go get it. So I might say, I'm going to keep my computer right downstairs where I do my morning study. I also have a little calendar where I write out my study plans in the morning, like which scriptures I'm reading, which questions I'm thinking through, what I'm doing with that time with God. And so I'm going to add two-way journaling for 3 days each week in my morning study time. So that's a little reminder for me because I know when I wake up in the morning, I check that. And if my computer is right there, I can just easily do my two-way journal. So I'm setting myself up for success because I know the problem is when I wake up and I see I'm going to two-way journal, but my computer is not nearby, and I think, oh, I'll do it later, and then I don't do it later, right? You get it. Now, the next one I identified was that trip. Now, this is actually how we decided not to do the trip. The next action was just to have a conversation with Eric because he was very excited about it. And so I put on my next actions list in the to discuss section, said, talk with Eric about the trip. The other thing I could have done is we do a Friday couples planning session, and I keep a little agenda for those. So I could have just added that to my agenda and said, okay, we're already scheduled to talk Friday, so I can just bring it up then. What ended up happening is Eric and I did sit down for our Friday session, and I had on my to discuss list to talk with him about the trip. I brought it up and said, hey, what do you think of this? And he said, well, let's do a little more research. So I texted a friend who had done a similar trip, and I went online and I researched options, and then I brought those to him later. And then the more we talked about it, the more we realized this is just going to be a squeeze. We don't think it's the right thing. So we didn't move forward. But at least we talked about it, we researched it, and we didn't not do the trip just because we couldn't get our act together. We didn't do it because we decided it made more sense to stay home. And so that's a different thing. So actually I could knock that off my list and say, okay, essentially, I did the planning for the trip and we planned not to do it. And then we moved on to other things. The main point I want to make is that many people in the world just spin in circles and never feel like they really get important things done. But you are going to be an example for your friends and your family, your coworkers, your loved ones, because as they see you waking up excited and going to bed content and moving forward on everything that really matters to you, and then being available to be of service and to help others, they're going to be inspired. And I can only just imagine the influence that you're going to have. So I'm so excited for you, so grateful you're here. Please do come to the show notes page, LearnDoBecome.com/episode 269. You'll be able to see a video version of this, the images I talked about, download your worksheet, and we have related links as well. I do want to share a few fun stories from our community, and I want to make sure you know about Step Momentum. So I'll start with Step Momentum, then I'll share a few stories, and then we'll close up. Okay, so the reason why we're doing Step Momentum is because we were trying to think, what is an asynchronous way we can help people get success? Asynchronous just meaning you don't need to get on a live call with me during my office hours. Sometimes we do offer our 4 weeks to finished where we have weekly office hours with me and like daily office hours with our team and a little smaller private Facebook group. And we may do that again. But right now we're doing something that's more asynchronous, which means we're going to have a kickoff call and a graduation, But between that, it's all done through email, text, Facebook posts inside our Step Mastery program. We've done it once before, and it was so successful. We were seeing all these people getting their certificates of graduation from the Step Mastery program. People were so happy and successful and working together. It was awesome. So we decided to start again January 8th. If you want to be part of that, you need to be part of our Step Mastery program. And if you want to learn more about that, just come to LearnDoBecome.com/momentum. We have all the details there. Okay, I'm very excited for you. Now I want to read just a few things that have come in because these testimonials are coming in so fast. I have them all backlogged because I need a faster way to get them out to share them. But this first one is just so cute. So it was posted inside of our step group and it said, "Just here to say thank you. I recently started a new job that has me learning a lot of new routines. Things that should be simple take forever. I felt myself getting into a bit of a panic Sunday and Monday this week because it's the holiday season, my kids wrestle every weekend, and this new role is taking over all my time and attention. I was back in that place of feeling things slipping through the cracks and lamenting another holiday season where I'm not ready. But then I made my plan for the week, shifting around the stuff that isn't essential and identifying the next actions. Now I'm midway through the week and feeling confident that the essentials are getting done. And after realizing I had double booked my family for when we were going to do our tree decorating, I was able to pivot. We didn't get the whole thing done, but last night we had a nice 1.5-hour family time where we got it started. This was thanks to, number 1, being on the same page with my family. Number 2, the effort I made last year to outline our essential holiday traditions. And number 3, the work I've done to be content with microbursts and adjusting expectations, keeping the why front and center. My command central is in a bit of disarray right now as I figure out how to manage a more dynamic task list, but I feel peace knowing I'll do my review at the end of the week. I can trust my system. I've mainly been a podcast and YouTube listener, and I had April in my head reminding me that new routines are a project, a small step is still a step, and identifying the next action is half the battle. Grateful for this community." I just love that. So thank you, thank you. The next one is from Amy, and she said, "I'm so happy to be diving back in. I discovered this program when my kids were little. I worked full-time, had a 2- and 3-year-old, and was drowning. This program opened doors in my mind that I didn't know existed. I learned how to get things done. My kids are 10 and 11 now. I can't believe it. Using these tools, I advanced my career by 6 levels. I'm still not great at housework, but I've learned how to take apart tasks and move beyond stuck. I've not kept every step in my head and not done everything. A 0 inbox gives me a ton of anxiety, so I don't do it. And that's okay. I've been trying to figure out how to get more done on my side business. I hand make girls' dresses. I'm diving back in and taking my kids with me because I want them to learn to manage their own tasks and projects to reduce my mental clutter. I can't brain for 3 people anymore. I'm so excited to see things from a new lens and build on what is now routine. If you are new, stay encouraged. Even if you don't incorporate everything, you can get out of overwhelm and change your whole mindset." Okay, Amy, that was so awesome. Thank you for your example. Isn't it fun to just hear what's happening? Okay, and then this next one was posted in our Step Mastery group, and it has all these pictures of this big chest that had been organized. And it said, "Okay, so proof that Step has changed my life. For how long have I just shifted the random stuff so the lid would close without me sitting on it?" Okay, so she has like this big, like wooden chest. So "Not today, hidden chaos monster." With April's sweet voice in my head, I heard, "Now you have 2 minutes. I challenge you to do it in 2 minutes or less. Double dare." She said, "Being raised with 4 brothers as an only girl, that's always been my, oh really, I got this. Somehow, sweet April has become my challenging sister." Then she said, "So the timer begins. Done. Wow, I would have just stood there looking at Facebook, but nope, I got it done. Treasures found? Yep. Clothes I somehow thought at some point, oh, this is a good place to shove 2 small kids' clothes to take to the church for the Lighthouse Ministry." Well, no longer in that season. Still going to church, but now it's in a bag in my car. And the rest was empty bottles and a random leaf garbage bag. No clue what that brilliant good place to shove that thought was for. But walking away from flipping laundry, having stepped another monster, she's been sharing how she's like stepping monsters, that's what she's calling them. And now she just knows, oh, I'm going to get you next. I'm going to get you next. It's been so fun reading just these experiences and the stories and perspectives. And I'm glad I can be that big sister saying, I double dare you. 10 minutes, you can do it. So anyway, I just hope that you're feeling encouraged and excited. I know that there's hard stuff going on behind the scenes. I've been dealing with some of that myself lately. My stomach was like hurting for the past 2 days because I couldn't quite figure out some problems I'm trying to navigate. But I'm feeling a lot better now because I'm making it my projects. I'm sitting down. I'm taking time. I'm resting when I need it. I'm not trying to overdo it and try to do everything all at the same time and be all things to all people. And I know especially this time of year, it's really hard to put stuff on pause. But I do encourage you to at least set your sights on getting your Command Central built next year. And if you want to do it with our Step Mastery community in the Step Momentum group, that's awesome. If you just want to be part of the podcast community and watch our videos and, stay with us that way, that's awesome. Make sure you come to LearnDoBecome.com/inspiration. You can get our weekly updates so we can email you and keep you up to date on everything awesome going on. But I will send you a big virtual hug. You can absolutely create a life that feels calm. It's not necessarily easy, but it's easier, and it won't always stay calm because stuff's going to happen, but you know how to get back to that beautiful homeostasis of waking up excited and going to bed content. I believe that there's a higher power that's helping me, and I feel that, and I'm increasing my faith, and I'm watching what happens as I do that, and it's like miracles that can happen consistently. Sending lots of love. We'll see you soon at LearnDoBecome.com.